I begin my remarks this morning with deep sadness and a very heavy heart. On Memorial Day last week, we witnessed the murder of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer, with seemingly at least 3 other officers standing by with no recourse to assist. All 4 of those former police officers have been met with high crimes from the Minnesota State Attorney and the District Attorney from Hennepin County. This senseless tragedy once again reminds us that racism exists in our country after all these years. In America, we preserve the right through the First Amendment to speak what's on our minds, to demonstrate, to protest, to march, to sing, laugh, pray, or cry as we wish. And I think over the last 10 days, many of us have done all of the above, or at least some. But we at some point, and this cuts very deep, need to unify. We need unity in this country, in our great land, to aspire to be the America that we all want and all need desperately. I take the responsibilities of executive director at the world's greatest port here in Los Angeles very seriously. And as part of that responsibility, I have under our care the Port Police Bureau that is managed by our very top shelf Chief Tom Gazsi. We employ a community policing strategy every day because it is so important to our neighbors, our business partners, and our colleagues right here at work, and those that we deal with all around the world. And I am confident every day that the women and men, both sworn and civilian, uphold those privileges to serve our community in the proper way. And I am extremely confident in that leadership that Chief Gazsi exhibits every single day. And with that, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Chief Gazsi to give us a public safety update here this morning.
Thank you, Gene. Honorable Commission, President Lee, good morning. A week ago, Memorial Day, we witnessed deplorable and reprehensible conduct on the part of Minneapolis police officers. Know that what we witnessed as Americans nationally is not in keeping with the great traditions of law enforcement, nor is it certainly of the Los Angeles Port Police, nor of our closest allied partners. In discussing this with our police officers in a variety of roll call settings, they all found it as deplorable as I did. In an open letter to our police department following this tragic and senseless event, I pointed out to our folks how inappropriate it was for the arresting officer, to have conducted himself in such a way. And I suggested that the other officers that acted and failed to intervene in this conduct were complicit. 2 days ago, you're aware that subsequent charges have been filed against those other officers, including aggravated assault and accessory to murder and a variety of others, and appropriately so. Know this, that the Los Angeles Port Police has a history that goes back to 1911. Long before community-based policing was a philosophy as it is today, nonetheless, the reputation of the Los Angeles Port Police was to attend to the port complex, the water side, the land side, with great sensitivity, dignity, and care for the port complex. As the department has evolved over many years, it now reaches into properties and areas of port responsibility in Wilmington, Harbor City, and San Pedro. The reputation that we maintain, and I'm proud that we have, is that we're a very sensitive, caring, thoughtful, and discreet police department, which you have my full commitment that we will continue to be with increased sensitivity. Now, it doesn't mean that we rest on our laurels or take for granted the successes of the past. We always have to evaluate ourselves, our conduct, and my commitment to you is that we will do just that. Over the last several days, our police officers, community resource officers, and our command staff have met with a variety of businesses in and about the complex, the fish market, restaurants, breweries, in and about San Pedro, crafted, 22nd Street Landing, and others to ensure that as they were transitioning out of the COVID period and restrictions began to lift, that they would successfully engage their business activities. As you know, this is a significant and understandable setback, but nonetheless, we will do all we can to ensure that those businesses come back online safely, successfully, and serve the area of the Port of Los Angeles. As well, our police officers under mutual aid agreements have been detailed out in and around Los Angeles to assist the Los Angeles Police Department in restoring order, upholding the First Amendment rights of those that would protest peacefully. Most notably, our officers were detailed to Los Angeles Fire Department stations to escort LAFD personnel to responding to calls for fires, rescues, accidents, and medical aids. In some cases, even escorting the rescue ambulances to hospitals to ensure the care of those affected in Los Angeles, that they would receive the care necessary for those incidents. And they've done that with great nobility and great sensitivity and thoughtfulness. And we will continue to do that as long as that is necessary. In some cases, we were deployed to areas of Los Angeles where there was unrest to ensure the First Amendment rights of those that were protesting and demonstrating their frustration with the current climate was allowed to occur without being impeded. With the utmost dignity, the utmost thoughtfulness, and the utmost care. I'm pleased to report there's been no damage to any of our facilities in and about the port complex. None of our personnel have been injured. No Harbor Department personnel have encountered problems or issues, and we've ensured that if it was necessary to leave early in the day, that we accommodated those things based on what was happening in and around Los Angeles with the approval of the general manager, Gene Seroka, to release our employees to ensure that they were able to travel home safely. We will continue to look at ways we can improve our relations in the Port of Los Angeles at all levels. And we will continue to police the Port of Los Angeles with great dignity, with an institution that was established honorably in 1911. Thank you.
And I think it's easy to see why we all admire Chief Gazsi so much. In the most critical of times, how the best rise to the top. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much, Gene, for that heartfelt and very important update. Thank you also to the Chief. It has been a very, very difficult week for all of us here in Los Angeles, beginning with the tragedy of witnessing the horrific murder of George Floyd. But I also feel like the progress we've made in the last couple of days, the peaceful protests, the enormous gathering of citizens at City Hall and across our entire city has been so heartening, so joyful in many ways, and so important. And I feel especially that, for those of us, even American-born citizens who are acutely reminded on a daily basis that racism is very, very pervasive, even in a city such as ours, we look forward to aiding however we can in this progress and have never doubted the integrity and love and passion of the LA Port Police in assisting the neighborhoods surrounding the port in that effort. So I really, really appreciate that.